Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for Coffee and Card at Home. Sorry for being a few minutes late tonight. I think the heat is getting to me today. It's been one of those days where it's difficult to concentrate on things, I think, with the heat the way it is. But hopefully things are cooling down a bit now and we can get some crafting done. So today we're on week 3 and this is the card that we're making with the Dress to Impress stamp set. So this is the stamp set that we've been using for the last few weeks, and we've got one more week left next week. I'm going to show you how to create this card using the Dress to Impress set and also using the trio punch as well. Hi Tracy, thanks for joining me. Hope you're managing to keep cool, and hope you're joining in as well if you can, or if not, just watching along and then you can join and have a go later on. So I'm just gonna reorganize my desk a little bit so I've got everything that I need. Right, so what we are going to need for this to get started is a pool party card base. So this is our standard C6 size, which is half of a sheet of A4, and then scored down the centre at 10.5 centimetres. So I'm just going to move those out of the way. I'm going to start off by burnishing that on my fold, and I'm going to stamp onto that in a moment. Then the other bits we're going to need are a couple of strips of card to make the little bit that goes down one side. So we've got a piece of the Whisper White, which is the length of the card, so 14.8 by 5 centimetres, and I've cut them at similar sizes, but only because we're just going to peek that one out from behind it. So actually that strip, your grey strip, which is Smoky Slate, doesn't really matter too much what colour that is. And then I've just got a scrap here of white just for us to stamp our sentiment onto as well, and the measurements actually of that are 4.5 centimetres by 4 centimetres, and we're not really going to do too much cutting or anything on that. We're going to use that as it is. So let's start off. We're going to put a little bit of detail on to the card base. So if I bring back this one, you'll see I've got some of these little bits just popping out behind the strip with the perfume bottles. I don't really know what that is. It's a very strange looking thing. It looks a bit like it could be a leaf, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, that's what we're going to use. You could use any of the other bits from the set actually if you prefer the spots, which we used a lot the other week, or the flowers, entirely up to you. But I decided to go for that kind of unusual one, and I've gone for tone on tone colours. So I'm just going to stamp so that I don't need to stamp over the whole thing. I just want bits to be able to peek out from behind that strip. So I'm going to stamp them sort of here and there, some going off the card, some that I can turn it around and do it a different way. Just sort of just had a bit of detail in there. You might decide that when you actually put your strip of card down, you might decide you want more, so we can always come back and do more of those if we need to. So that's the card base done. Next I'm going to take my grey, just going to pop that to the side. I'm going to take my white strip now, and I'm using basic grey. I just thought it might be nice for a change instead of black. Sometimes we often do images with a black outline and it can be quite dark and quite heavy, so I thought I would do it differently this time and go for a slightly lighter colour. So what I'm doing is I'm going to stamp one of my perfume bottles at the bottom with just sort of 1/2 centimetre maybe, or even less than that possibly, away from the bottom. Then I'm going to stamp the top one the same so that I'm just a little bit away from the top, and then that should give me space to then stamp my other one in the middle. And you don't actually have to have them all lined up perfectly. You could have them off at angles if you wanted to. There's lots of different things that you could do with it. And then just whilst I've got my grey out, I'm just going to move that to the side and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So I've used the one that says Hello Fabulous. And I'm just going to ink that up, and then I'm going to stamp that right in the centre of my little piece of Whisper White. Actually, I should say basic white. We've moved away from Whisper White now, and it's just taken me a while to get that into my head that it's called basic white now. Okay, so that's my grey stamping done. I'm going to bring back my perfume bottles, and I'm just going to get my pink on there now. So I'm using a really bright pink, which is Magenta Madness. And what we're going to do is we're going to stamp in full strength, then in second generation, then in third generation. Now on my other ones, I've gone darkest to lightest, but I think I might go the other way around this time. Or you could even go just randomly, or you could have them all dark or all light, or there's so many different things that you could do. So I think I'm going to go dark, top, stamp again, gives me a bit lighter, and stamp again, gives me lighter still. So just the other way around this time on that. And then again, whilst we've got the pink out, we're going to do our dots. So I've stamped dots around my sentiment. On my first one that I did, I stamped the spots all over, but actually when I did the one this morning, I decided I quite liked it with the spots just going around the edge, so I'm just going to do that again, but I'm just going to do them around the edge. And again, you could do some first, second, third generation if you want to, so you've got spots that are lighter as well. And then that is all of our stamping done then. So let's get my inks out of the way. So what I'm going to do next is, whilst I've got my sentiment here, is I'm just going to do the bits that I need with my trio punch. So the nice thing about the trio punch is that it's got these 3 different things on it. So one of the things that we're going to use today is the corner rounder. And then I'm also going to use the hole as well, which you can obviously use for making tags. So I'm just going to pop my piece of card in, push it right up so it fits in. You'll feel when it stops, and then punch down on the top and turn again. And punch down and turn again, and then finally one more time that last corner. And so I've got my bits there that I've cut off, and then I've tied my ribbon to look like a tag on here. You don't have to do that, you could just not bother with a hole and just put your piece of twine on just as it is, but I decided to tie it on. So this is a little bit awkward, so what we need to do is we need to give ourselves a little bit of a marker so we know where it's going to punch out. So I'm going to look for the centre, and I'm just going to draw myself a little dot with a pencil there. Then we have to turn it over so that I can then put that little dot exactly where I want it to go, hold it tight, and then punch down. I'm punching from the other way, but at least it means that I can now see where I want my hole to go, and it's in exactly the right place. So I'm going to take a bit of my twine now. So this is our basic black and white baker's twine, and I'm just going to tie it through there, so just even it up, just tie it in a knot. Apologies for the dog barking. This is the problem with the good weather, doors open, dogs outside barking at whatever she can find to bark about, really. So there's our second knot, just so that it keeps it in place, really, and then that'll make it easier for me to tie my bow in a second. So I'm going to get it stuck on before I do that bit, so I'm going to pop that to the side. So I'm going to stick my grey so that you can just see a little bit of the grey to one side, like that. You could go on either side, entirely up to you. I think I'm going to go and have it on this side. I'm leaving about 1/2 centimetre, but you could leave more if you wanted to, entirely up to you, or you could leave it off completely if you don't want it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here, making sure I obviously don't stick down that edge. And then I'm going to line that up with my grid lines, and then pop that on, and again use my grid lines to help me to line it up to get it straight. There we go. Now that is then going to be stuck onto my card base, so I'm just going to put it where I think I want it to go. Now with all my others, I've gone with them slightly to the side. You don't have to, you could go straight down the middle if you wanted to. I think it works quite nicely to the side, because then you can have your sentiment off at the side there. So I'm going to just glue the back of that. So I think I'm going to go about there. Again, just using my grid lines just to help me to line that up. Then I'm going to bring back my sentiment, and I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back of that just to raise it up. So about 4 should do the job. And then we're just going to stick that on just slightly to the side. So I think on my others I went with it at the top. Do you know, I think I'm going to go with it near the bottom this time. So I'm going to stick it there. And then I'm just going to tie my bow now with my twine. And the good thing about that, because obviously I've tied it in a knot, it just keeps it in place a little bit better whilst you're tying that, and then you can press on your knot just to adjust the size of the loops, and then pull it again. And obviously you can see I've got one side that is a bit shorter than the other, so I'm just going to cut that one off to match it. And that one has frayed ever so slightly, and I quite like that, so I'm just going to twist that end and make that one frayed a little bit as well, so they match. There we go, that looks quite good frayed. So there we go. If I bring back the 3, you can see they're all ever so slightly different, just with the way that I've stamped the ink on the perfume bottles, or where I've positioned my sentiment. The only thing that I have forgotten to do, which of course we wouldn't be without this, is I've just put a little bit of Wink of Stella on the actual perfume bottles themselves, because They're kind of crystal, aren't they? And I think actually just having a little bit of shimmer on there would be quite nice. So you can't really see it very well on the video, but I'm sure that in the right light you'll see it just glimmering a little bit. So just a quick reminder of what we have used. So the stamp set we've used is the one we've been using for the whole month, Dress to Impress, and we have used the Trio Punch, which has the 3 different images on. And then we have used the Magenta Madness, Basic Grey and Pool Party inks. And then the cardstock we've used is Pool Party C6 card base, and then a strip of the Basic White, a strip of Smoky Slate, and then a small rectangle of Basic White again. And then just to finish it off, we've got our piece of Basic Black and Basic White baker's twine just to add on to the end there. So that's the 3rd card in our series of 4 done. So next week I'll be doing our final week, and we're actually having a go at creating leopard print using the stamp set, so I'm quite looking forward to that one. It's quite hard to believe that we are almost at the end of this series of 4 again. It seems to be going really quickly. So I will see you next Monday evening to show you the final card in the series. And in the meantime, have a great week. Let's hope the nice weather carries on, but maybe just a little bit cooler would be good. So take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye Tracy. Bye everyone.